When I was prepping to go to LCS finals, or at least like the watch party that we were having in New York yesterday, I wasn't sure what jersey I wanted to wear because there were two trains of thoughts that I had going into the series. First, it'd be really cool to see C9 do history and go 9-0, sweep the series, and just like I'm a big fan of like being able to live in the moments that you will remember in LCS history. The second was loyalty to a particular player who continuously is just overlooked. And for those of you that don't know the meaning of this Optic jersey in particular, this is the jersey of the 2019 Optic squad, which Dhokla was a starter on in top lane. It wasn't his like a debut. That was the 2018 jersey, which I did not get, but I just was proud to be an Optic fan. 8 years later, it is nice to finally see the man getting his recognition. So let's talk about finals from this past weekend. I've got 5 major things that I want to get through. And the first, we'll start on a positive because obviously we know negative is coming in this video, but you got to start with Dhokla. This whole weekend, the man proved exactly why I called out in the offseason that it's ridiculous that Team Liquid did not take a chance on this man. Like, I do not want the context to be lost here. I know people will be like, oh, yeah, from Team Liquid. No, like, really stop and think about the fact that no org was going to be willing to pick up Dhokla. And there were people saying, oh, well, hey, it's just a byproduct of the unfortunate reality of the state of top lane. I look at TL in that situation and say, you are freaking dumb. You really are dumb. This guy continues to be slept on throughout this region. He is a bright lights merchant, as Reddit likes to say, where in the biggest moments, he is consistently showing up. He is arguably at this point, well, history, I don't want to like overstep there, but at least in the current moment, he is the best performing international top laner that we have in North America by a wide margin. He's showing up consistently on the domestic level now, even if it's not in a way prior to this weekend that was flashy enough for some people to sit here and say, yeah, that's the guy that I want to follow. And now he's internationally popular as well. Dhokla pulling out counterpick after counterpick after counterpick to put Morgan in his place and assert himself above that. We kind of figured that he might get the better of Impact, but then Thanatos, the guy that's supposed to smash all over him in lane, he's getting the better of him there too. Like, what else can you say about Dhokla, who deserves all of his flowers? His first title since the NRG run back in 2023, so now his second total like trophy. This one, unfortunately, not in a big stadium. I can't wait to get later in the year whenever we get to see Lion in a big stadium with everybody else. Like, oh man, that's just gonna be fun. And like, I don't have enough positive things to say about Dhokla here, other than just I hope lessons are learned from this moment. I know they won't be, but I'm just glad that this is one that aged well, because there were so many people that were saying, oh, of course it makes sense that you take Morgan over Dhokla. How'd that age for you? And just what else do I got to say? How'd that age for you? Let's shift over to the other side of the aisle, though, because Blaber's going to be the main talking point here for the day. Like, as much hype as Dhokla's going to get, like, obviously these losses tend to speak more negatively upon certain people based on how they go. And Blaber had one of the worst final series that we've seen from a MVP caliber player in the LCS that I can remember. I genuinely cannot think of a finals where somebody is just individually played that scared, that nervous, that like just read like a book by Inspired the entire time. The stat was brought up on the broadcast that he has only won one series against Inspired in their last, now I think 8 total since 2023, since Blaber won the title back in 2023 spring. Like, it has just been a bad road. And the biggest question for C9 in the offseason, at least in my opinion, was would they keep Blaber or would they go elsewhere? Because it seems like in the big moments, Blaber continues to fold. Now, granted, it's one particular person that is just continuously wiping him. I mean, last year it was 100 Thieves, actually, so I can't necessarily say that either. But it's just clear that Blaber, for whatever reason, just has issues in these moments. And it's unexplainable. Like, it makes no sense. This is not the same guy that we just saw for weeks looking fantastic. I mean, this finals as a whole, like, everybody on Lion played well. It was particularly a mid-jungle canyon between the two teams. APA did not have a great series either, but Blaber, obviously, they just... I don't want to beat down too much, but the question does have to be raised of, like, what do you do? Is this a problem that C9 and Blaber is just not going to work out, that he needs a change of scenery in the same way that APA did to find a little bit better form from where he was at the end of last year with TL. Do you just need something different for Blaber? Like, is that what it's going to take? I don't know. It is so odd that the same exact thing keeps happening over and over again. And when you recognize a pattern, you have to call it out. I don't know if they need a sports psychologist or what it's going to be, but like this can't keep happening. We cannot, for C9 fans, I feel bad at this point that you just know going into finals that Blaber's just going to disappear when the pressure is on the most. It makes no sense. It's shocking, but alas, here we are. You know who stepped up big though today? Whenever nobody was really talking about him all that much because there are brighter spots, it's Isles. This dude played one of the best Poppy games that I've seen in a long time. The comp in general in Game 4 was fantastic, but Isles just put on a fantastic show that will not get the recognition that it deserves based on how everybody else did. Obviously, Berserker had the insane score lines, the kill finishes in many of these fights. Saint was getting the better of APA in the mid lane. You gotta give Isles his credit. He played incredibly well, and this is the one piece that coming into the split, everybody was like, I don't know if this dude's like at that level. And this was a statement series from him that he can be on the right team. He can be in that conversation for some of the best supports in this league. Fantastic job from him that I just wanted to make sure it gets shouted out, even though obviously there's not as much to say on it. He just deserves his recognition. But the man of the moment, without question, is Inspired. I mean, the dude just runs this region for North America. And granted, this was exactly what some of us thought was going to happen in terms of like the early peaking of this roster. The problems with an Inspired roster don't come until much later in time typically. So right now it is in that good phase, but this dude is just the best jungler in the West. He mentioned in his post-game interview that every team that he goes to, he just qualifies for international events, and then it's just magically him versus G2. So now he goes into an international event, once again, being our hope to take down G2 and Europe. It's just insane. And now he's got a chip on his shoulder because he was possibly trying to go to G2 in this offseason, and they passed him up. So he picks this Lion squad, and not single-handedly, but he is very much calming and being the shot caller for this team while also playing at the highest skill level of any individual player in this region, in my opinion. Like, it's the opposite of CSGO, where typically the shot callers, are bottom fragging or at least closer to that. No, this dude's calming everything, calling out for everybody, and just leading by example. And what else can you say there? It's just fantastic to see. He's easily the best player in the West. If you want to fight that opinion, go argue with the tree. I don't know what to tell you. And the final thing, take away from this weekend, it's kind of circling back to C9, because I don't want to dunk on them too much because I think we get lost a lot in the negativity here. But I asked the conversation after game 3 of whether I think C9 needs changes or not going into the later portions of this year. And I know there's going to be people that see us and say, David, you're overreacting, which, by the way, we will be doing an episode of I Don't Want to Overreact, but for Wednesday. I'm going to get your takes on Tuesday and try and film that and get it done. But I don't think it's an overreaction at this point to hit the panic button for Cloud9 after yet another bad finals performance. And it's not just Blaber in this situation. It is Sven and Vulcan being just out of sorts with the team. I mean, the reaction to that Bard ult in game 4 was just oh God, what is happening here? Thanatos lives up to hype in lane a little bit, but then the team's just not together for whatever reason in these moments. And I know that's not something that coaching can necessarily fix. It just seems like it's a personality problem, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what's causing them to scatter so much and just really feel less like a unit and more like just 5 individual players that we can isolate and just talk separately about. This is the point. Same thing for TL, where it's you would expect this roster to do better early on because they have been playing together for a longer period of time. There's only one piece that's plugged into this roster in APA. Same thing for TL. Like, even though some things change, for the most part, like, it is veterans that were together since the early parts of the offseason. You had that offseason tournament in Kespa Cup that was supposed to help tune you up for this moment. And you have a bunch of other rosters in North America that are younger, that are going to get better as time goes on and these players get used to the stage and can challenge some of the vets. But it seems like there's a ceiling here with C9 for whatever reason that I don't know how they get around. I'm not expecting the C9 like roster and I guess just the org as it stands right now to get better as the year goes on. I'm expecting them to get worse as everybody else catches up. They kind of needed to win now. Like Lion's in a similar boat where like we expected them to do well early and again the problems arise later, but they did exactly what they said. For TL, similar thing, supposed to perform well early, didn't. FlyQuest is going to get better. Shopify should rebound and get better, or they might make a change and like pick up Ayla or something like that. Like things like that could happen. You could see Dignitas improving and taking series off of some of the top teams and challenging them and pushing them. I'm genuinely nervous about what this means for the long-term future of this C9 roster. Well, not nervous. I mean, they could change. It's not, I don't care if they do or they don't. But if you're a C9 fan and anybody comes out here and tells you it's not time to panic, no, I think it is. I think you are genuinely entitled to that right to panic at this point and just be upset, angry. Obviously, don't take it out on the players before anybody comes in and tries to do that. We can have these conversations here. You never at somebody personally on Twitter. You never, like, you keep it within the fandom. If they want to read it, they can, but you just relax a bit. Freak out, but I know that sounds counterintuitive, but like you should get what I mean. But man, wow, what do you do? I don't know. This was an insanely fun finals weekend, and I'll have more to talk about as we kind of like let the emotion and the headlines kind of ride out for the rest of the week. Again, I don't want to overreact, but we'll be out on Wednesday. I'll have a little bit of time next week to talk about some things that have popped up in the headlines as well, but I just wanted to get a video out talking about what felt like an insane finals. And a massive thank you to not only the 500 people that were watching the co-stream. I'll do a whole video breaking down how this like kind of season or split of the co-stream went, but also to those that came out to the bar at OSNYC. Thank you to Roxanne, who covered our bar tab for the night. And thank you to the North American League of Legends community, whether you are actually from NA or whether you're watching from beyond. There have been people that have been tuning in from, I know, the Philippines, from Australia, from Germany, from the UK. Like everybody's been shouting out where they're from. Like we are a very much global crowd, but again, we are still all NA fans. And I'm happy that so many people are still watching North America right now. Like finals like this, it was just a blast to watch. Whether I was in the bar, whether you're watching at home, it's just fun. And the community's awesome. So thank you again. We'll talk more later, and I hope you had a good weekend. See you later.